Most influential, and of course the first woman to greatly impact my life was and is my mother, Lois Louise the Great. She has impacted me by thought, by direct teaching, by osmosis, and it has been an impact that teaches me to be resilient, or how to be resilient. Resilience, boldness, loving of others and of self. And yes, it's now raining, so you'll hear that also. Hey, it is what it is. But that is the impact and how I've been impacted. There have been many others of which I'm grateful, but the first and most influential and most important has been my mother, who was, by all accounts, a force to be reckoned with. What empowers me, gives me strength, courage, and wisdom to make it through the day. I'm empowered by, these days, and it took me a minute to get here, I'm empowered by remembering and choosing to practice self-care. Meditations, affirmations, manicures, massages. When I remember to do these things, especially at the start of the day, it gives me strength for the day because stuff comes up. But remembering that I am worthy and important enough to take care of myself, to be the one who says, what does Vickie need? It took me a long time to get here. As a mother, I think I subscribed to what a lot of women subscribe to, putting everybody first all the time. And what I have now, where I am now, is understanding and accepting that it is very important to care for myself. That it's not an act of selfishness, it's an act of the empowering, it's an act of self-love, self-care, and that it is something that we're called to do. What also is guiding me and giving me, keeping me going in a way that I want to be going, is to remember and to indulge in the power of stories. The stories of my foreparents, the stories of my ancestors, those stories that often don't get told of how I'm learning, you know, that phrase, how to make $1 out of 15 cents, how my folks did that, how they continue to do that. And not just those stories of the people who we know, the bigger stories, but stories of my family, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-aunts. Those people, that's very important to my journey these days. And then, especially as it relates to hope, my grandchildren and other children and young people, and seeing their strength, their joy, their self-awareness and their hope, and they're just the way that, especially when they're able to be untampered with and unfettered, and the freedom that they walk through the world with, that gives me hope and just joy. So that's where that is for me. I have direct experience with mentoring. I don't like the word mentoring. I say womentoring. Both direct experience and indirect experience. I've been members of cohorts, which I've been assigned mentors, or mentees rather. And more often than not, or I shouldn't say often, many of my students become mentors. Many of my students become mentees. That word, mentees. They become mentees. I never think of them as mentees. I never use that term. I just kind of say my children. One of the things I recognize about myself is that I have the gift. Mothering for me is a gift. It's something that I enjoyed. Because mothering young people or children is different from mothering young adults. That being said, yes, I have experience with mentoring. I have more often mentored women than men. I don't know, maybe it's half and half. Mentoring women, and what I find is I'm being mentored, and I'm really thankful for that help. So yes, I have experience. It's been helpful, it's been enlightening, and it's been affirming. As it relates to relationships with women, I view the sisterhood that I am a part of as necessary and life-giving and life-affirming. I'm fortunate, very fortunate, to have a birth sister, only one, with whom I have a very loving, very bright, and what's the word I would use? Very engaging and very push and pull. We kind of push at each other and pull each other. We're there for each other. So I'm really fortunate to have that in a birth sister. So I knew early on what sisterhood was and what friendships and relationships with women were through looking at my mother and her sister friends. I'm real happy for the sister friends that I have in my life. I have women friends who we will go to the ends of the earth for each other. We'll go to the mat for each other. We'll talk about each other, to each other, tell each other what is and what is not. I consider them to be very dear to me. In French, there's a word that in French means dear, and the translation of it for English is expensive or valued. And I consider my sister friends very valuable to me, and I hope that I'm valuable to them. Most of my relationships with my sister friends are with people in my own generation. And I'm real thankful for that, but I'm very thankful for the relationships that I have with women who are my elders. That is really special. To sit at their feet and to learn from them and to share with them is really a gift to me. Some of the things that I most value about the relationship that I have with my sister friends, and thinking of one in particular, are the ability to be self-reflective with each other, to be nurtured and nurturing, honesty, caring, laughter, to be on the same page about stuff and not have to put everything in context and not have to be so careful about how you say things. One of my friends is so honest with me in such a loving way, and I often, because I am an Aries woman, I'm a ram, always climbing, don't mind using my horns to ram open doors. But this particular woman, who's a friend of mine, found through the years, has been real helpful to help me she pulls out through love and caring, she reminds me that it's okay to show that I am vulnerable, that I have needs. That's been real helpful for me. She's not the person who always is coming to me for help or for answers. She's there for me to be asking and for me to be helped. And she helps me to be really honest about what I need and let me know it's okay to ask for what I need and go get what I need.